Hey, everybody. Welcome to Popular Unknown Paintball live. Terribly sorry for the late start, but I had to show my guest how to unplug his VHS tape and plug in onto my show because I have one of the original icons, and I've been harassing him on his show for the last few months. And he said, turnabout's fair play. He needs to harass me on my show. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you none other than the immortal Fred Schultz. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Going good, buddy. How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing fantastic. I mean, considering the fact that I'm under quarantine now and I'm not allowed to leave my house for 2 weeks because I just got back from Denver and the Canadian government said, no. I even asked them, I said, listen, can I go in, take one of those, like, can you scrape the back of my eyeball again and maybe shave off a few days? Because it takes about 2-3 days to get set up for the test. And then it takes 2-3 days to get the results back. But if I could shave 2 weeks down to 1 week, I'd do it. But yeah, they said no, because it takes incubation time. So I just got to suffer through this.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you, my hat's off to you, though, because you came down and you did the Ellie Remember Foundation. Now, you could have stayed at home and not had to stay there for 2 weeks when you got back.
Yes.
My hat's off to you for coming down, and you did some great interviews while you were there, too.
Well,
I want to tell you, I enjoyed the hell out of listening to him, buddy. Even the one with Weiss,
Even the one with Weiss, yeah. You know what? Weiss is awesome. Like I've been talking with him on and off since I started this podcast. Him and the OG Ironman were probably my biggest supporters right out of the gate. Him, Marcus Davis, Dan Colby, like all the whole crew just sort of banded together. And if it wasn't for them supporting me, I wouldn't have got the respectability I needed to talk to a lot of my guests in the past. Now I know that eventually you and I would have chatted, but because you're awesome that way. But it's just, if it wasn't for Weasel and Dan and like just all the greats coming out saying that this kid's cool. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, you're talking about guys I go back a lot of years with, I mean, Weiss was just a kid when back in the day when I started. And, Dan Colby and we linked up just a couple of years after I got into paintball. So Dan has been my sponsor, my friend, for a lot of years.
Well, I need you to do me a favor.
We talk about you,
Yeah. Well, you need to give him a slap. You need to just haul off and backhand him, because I've been bugging him and his son John for almost a year now, maybe a little bit more. And we were supposed to be doing a big Immortal Air week. So I talked to a few of the people of Immortal Air, culminating with Dan at the end. It'd be like one episode a day for a week. And that's what I wanted to do. And Dan was always like, yeah, let's put it off a bit. Then he goes on your show, which is like that. It's like, oh, I feel like crap. But
no,
I'm just kidding.
Got nothing to do with you. Nothing at all with you. We talk about you. We boch like you. Obviously,
everybody talks about me.
Yeah. If I didn't like you, I obviously wouldn't be on your show. I'm very, very lucky. I can pick and choose who I want to talk to, who I want to be friends with, and who I want to work with, and so on. And you come up smelling good like roses from everybody that I've talked to before I even got to talk to you. I knew about your podcast. Everybody said you were first class. Your podcast was great. And Danny's just Danny. I can call Danny right now if you want to say hi to him.
Yeah. No, I can call him too. I've got his home number. He just won't get on the podcast. So please, next time you see him and you're in face,
He said that him and John are setting up their little studio. He said that's the reason why. Yeah, he would be on, and we did one with Brad Gruitt a few weeks ago, and we had Tim Schloss on. You know Timmy, right?
I've never met him. Always been a fan.
Oh, really? Terrific person. Once you meet him, you're going to absolutely love him. And he'll be on your show anytime you want to.
Oh, but that's awesome.
We put him on. Oh, absolutely. Anytime you want to link up with these guys and have them on. Matter of fact, you put them on together if you want to show. You might as well just kick back and put your feet up on the desk because these guys will take off. Believe me, they are funny as hell when they're together.
Okay, I get things. Marty Tripes was the Tiger Stripe, correct?
Nope. Tim Schloss was Tiger Stripes. Marty Tripes was the goggles.
Right.
Yeah,
Marty
was great. He was Scott Goggles.
Right. So sorry, we're going back 30 years, so I get a little.
Yeah, I traveled with all these guys, so
yes, I always wanted an original Tiger Stripes pullover jersey with the V-neck, because now I have a knockoff version, but I always wanted one of those, and obviously those aren't available anymore. But yeah, I've got the knockoff. I've got the Renegade version. So go ahead.
I've still probably got some of the original ones.
And hoard those because they're worth an arm and a leg. Like seriously, save those for the next the 3rd annual charity event, because those are worth just insane amounts of money.
Yeah, I've got them. I've got that, and I've got the ones, Tim made some special ones, for Constant Pursuit, my team.
Yeah.
So I've got the Tiger Stripe with the black sleeves, and it says Team Tiger on one arm and Constant Pursuit on the other. But I just talked to Timmy the other day, and he said he's got like 4 yards of the original cloth, and he was going to make us something special. Him and I something special. So I don't know what the heck it is, because I've already got the tuxedo. You know that.
Yes, I've seen the pictures.
Yep, and so I've already got that. So he's going to make some kind of special thing. I don't know what it is yet, but he just told me the other day he was going to do it. But I'll keep you in the loop.
Nice. Well, yeah, those Tiger Stripes, because it had the 3-prong, and that's how you could always tell the original. That was the only one that had like the big stripe, then the little, and then the little. It was always that one 3-pronged stripe. So.
Right. Yeah. When I first started with Tim, it's real funny. If you want a quick story, I can give you a quick story how I met the guy.
Give me a long story. I've got nothing but time.
Yeah. We went to Jim Lively's event. I took Constant Pursuit there, and that's when it was still a 15-man team.
Right.
So anyhow, we were playing, and we were just really, really doing good. This was still when it was pump gun. And so anyhow, after each game, when we started getting up in the rankings, this guy kept coming by and going, oh, man, you guys are really doing good. I mean, because Timmy's like Rodney Dangerfield. I think that was his favorite guy,
Right.
And so anyhow, so he kept doing that. And then finally, at the end of the game, we played a team, and we actually got, I never used the C word, but anyhow, we got burned out of that game. And Tim saw it, and Tim came up afterwards, and he told me, he goes, he says, I got to tell you, he says, you guys got ripped out of that game. And I go, yeah, but I says, now it's yesterday's news. We got second place. It is what it is.
Right.
So anyhow, he goes, he says, I'd like to talk to you about your team. And I go, really? And so he walks away, and I don't know who the hell this guy is. Right. So anyhow, I'm asking people, I go, who is this guy? And he goes, that is Tim Schloss. He owns Tiger Stripe Camouflage. And back then, Timmy had a partner too. I don't know if you know that. But Tim and another guy, they were partners. Just like Gino. Gino had Rick Fairbanks as a partner when I first met.
That
Gino.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and so anyhow, so Tim bought his partner out, and he put me on board. And he goes, yeah. He says, I want you to be sponsored by me and see if we can't sell some clothes. Well, let me tell you. We were selling clothes left and right. After we started wearing a Tiger Stripe and I started traveling everywhere, he was just swamped with it. But I got to tell you, it's a heck of a thing. I mean, I was at his shop. He had a place down in St. Louis that did all the sewing and everything like that. And it was an absolutely huge operation, Steve. You had to see it.
I believe it.
Absolutely terrific. It really, really was. But I want you to meet him. I would like you to have him on your show some night. This guy is nothing short of terrific.
Well, you know what? I would love to have him on anytime. But I'll be honest, with the interest in vintage stuff, if he still has the cloth or still has the patterns and whatnot, there's no reason why the original. Yeah, but I mean, if he has the pattern to create the cloth,
he's got all of that. every bit of it.
Right.
Matter of fact, he did original Fred gear for me. Okay,
Right.
that was a line of stuff I had out. He still has. He told me the other day he still has all the patterns for all of that too. So
I bet he could kickstart it and get it started again.
Oh, I bet he could too, but I don't think he has any desire to do so. I hated to leave you for a minute, but this is an original. That's an original jacket. This jacket is probably 30 years old right here.
Nice. Is this another jacket I get to violate?
Yeah, and see on the back. Can you see that? Team Tiger.
Nice.
That jacket is like brand new. It's 30 years old. So
for those of you that don't understand what I said when I said, is that another jacket I can violate? Fred Schultz here was nice enough to donate his original Constant Pursuit jacket to the Ali Remembered Foundation for the auction, and I believe it raised $275, and it went to Bill Bailey. It went to
William Bailey.
And it's going to be in the paintball museum that travels around. Yep. And I got to violate it.
Yeah. You know what's funny too, because I'm sure when William gets it, he's going to throw it on too. But I was the only guy that wore it, and then I got a picture. Andy put it on. Andy Scarrett put it on, and then you had it on. So, and now I'm sure William, when he gets it, he'll put it on.
That's you're a bad man, Steve McGuire. That's William Bailey right there. It doesn't show the name on the feed, but I've got it going on my phone so I can cheat in case people haven't put it on.
Oh, actually, Williams, I just met this guy. What I try to do, Steve, is when I do the show, I try to pick out one person that chimes in with us that that says something really nice. So he did one day. So I never knew William. I call him up, right? And I talked to the guy for about a half hour. And after I hung up the phone, I felt like I knew the guy forever. Just a terrific guy. Now I have him on almost every week. And what he does is he gets all the information from like Illinois and Missouri and Oklahoma and all the fields, so we can try to, keep people going to these different fields. He's just a terrific person. Period.
Yeah, no, he is. Freddie Valenti, I just showed it up there. He's saying that he didn't get a chance to try your CP jacket, and he's angry.
He tried all the rest of them on, though, every one of them. Yeah, Freddie's my buddy.
And the value just went down.
I love it.
So what are you going to do when you've got no Freddie and you got no friends and Freddie and friends? Like, how are you going to broadcast by yourself?
Well, I'm gonna do it, but you spent the first 6 hours before you went on the air showing me how the hell to do this thing, man.
It's because there's no VHS tapes.
A lot of the VHS tapes I got, a lot of it I got them out right now because my daughter, when she was really, really young, and I'm putting together a DVD for her of all the tapes that I took of her when she started. The first tape I got, she was I think 10 months old. So, and then, variations all the way up. So that's what I'm doing with the VHS 8 tapes. And also I've got a lot of the, the old paintball stuff. We shot on that. We shot it on Super 8. We shot it on a million different things. I got beta tapes here. I got everything. So.
Well, make sure that you transfer that as quickly as you can to digital, because those tapes, I don't know if anybody's told you or not, but those tapes are only designed to last 10 years. And then the cellulose on the tape starts to deteriorate. So what you want to do is take it to somebody, put it all on digital, and then edit it later.
Yeah, I've got these tapes. I can play these tapes right here. These tapes are over 30 years old.
I don't doubt it, but just know that cellulose is deteriorating and it could go at any time.
I believe it. Yeah.
So,
yeah, I got tons of them tapes. It's got my little editing studio right behind me. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I'm just I got out of paintball for a while, quite a while.
Yep.
And I'm really glad I'm back into it. I had a lot of people that actually got a hold of me. Keith Kissel and Freddie Valente. They're the two that really dragged me back into it.
Yeah, Keith calls me all the time.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think anybody gave a damn, about me after all these years. And we did a little. They asked me to come in, Freddie and Keith. They asked me to come in and just do a little, 20-minute, maybe a half-hour thing. And that ended up being 2 hours, and the response was just incredible. So then that's how our show started every week, and then obviously, Kiko's got his own thing now. He spun off from Freddie
on Thursdays.
Yeah. But Freddie and I are still going to keep doing our stuff. And nice. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And, I just enjoy talking to these people, Dan Colby and Schloss. Those are probably my two best friends. And then it goes down to Tom Kay and Jim Lively. Those are and Bud Orr. That's probably my top 5 of the people I really like hanging with over the years. So, but I got to tell you, those guys on, they'll give you stories you can't believe. I mean,
I believe it because I lived half of it. Like I may not have been at all of the stories they have, but you and I were of the golden era of which was like the wild, wild west when teams were a little more, what do I call it? Unruly. Like,
yeah, they were absolutely. And,
like go ahead. Like I remember that there was paintball gunfights in hotel hallways and food fights in restaurants. And I'm not suggesting that come back. I'm just saying back then there were bench clearing like it was completely different than it was now. Some aspects I miss, some aspects I don't. I like how the quality of the gear has improved tenfold. Like I don't think that there's a bad company out there. Did you see the shooting video I did, by the way?
No.
Did you get a chance?
With Weeze's son's gun?
No, I just did a clip of that, but I never got a chance to do a video of that. But I was actually shooting one of a purple Field 1 Force because you guys were out at their thing last week.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I had that. I had the new Lux Ace in my hands with the Spire 4 and the brand new Shocker that was all purple with the Ali Remembered Foundation laser etched on it. Like,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you teased me about having a purple marker that Sandman made for you and sent to you.
They sent it, and the post office didn't deliver it till Monday when I was already out the airport. So my teammate are literally sending me pictures of them licking my gun.
Sandman and I, we go way back. He was actually on the Muffs with us, which was a special team made up of just a lot of nice guys. And so him and Chip Kurtz used to have the Fox Sports back there, and I used to do big games for him. They'd fly me back for big games. We'd have a riot, and then I guess Sandman bought Chip out, so Chip's just running around now, and Sandman's got the whole operation. But Tim's a good guy. He's a good guy.
That's not exactly how it worked. I did a full article on it. Sandman owns airgundesigns.com. And he does the sales. And Dave actually owns Airgun Designs USA.
Well, this is Chip Kurtz.
Oh, Chip Kurtz. Oh, okay, my apologies.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the field.
There you go.
There we go. Yep. So I was thinking about Airgun Designs because the original Airgun Designs is folded, and now there's 2 companies that are working, and Sandman is the .com. He's the sales, and then there's Dave, and Dave does all the ordering of parts and stuff. Right. Although airgundesigns.com now orders in a lot of high performance aftermarket parts, and they're building one-offs. So if you want to get a brand new Airgun Designs gun, you can, that with all the bells and whistles.
Well, yeah, he called, we talked about a week and a half ago because, they got a carbon fiber body one,
Yes, I do. That thing. And they put it on what's called the nail gun.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah. So, we talked a couple of weeks ago because, I've been Automag for, 150 years.
Yeah, at least.
But at least. But, I some of these electronic guns, like the Field 1,
Right.
Just a terrific marker they make, and you can see the time and effort and the money that they actually put into that, Steve, to get where they are right now.
Absolutely. I love that thing. I was shooting it, and my only complaint about the Field 1 gun is that when you hold the foregrip, the way they've got the foregrip shaped, there's like a little point that gets in my palm of my hand. But other than that, that thing was just wicked. And then it's got a force shoot option. So if the gun starts malfunctioning, you hold the trigger down for a second, and it forces the gun to fire. And that way you can tell whether it's a gun issue or a hopper issue. I thought that was just mind blowing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, some of the stuff they had was just, it blew me away. It was just absolutely great. And, Eric and Yosh, they were terrific. We had them on.
Oh, yeah.
They were just a terrific bunch, guys.
And Yosh donated, I believe, 2 jerseys to the Ali Remembered Foundation auction. I didn't catch how much they went for, but he donated 2, I believe.
Yeah, I think Andy started teasing him when we had Andy on, and I think the first one went for $3.50, and I think the second one went for like $1.80 or something like that.
I'm not sure.
Every penny that was collected to me was great, even if it was $1. Anything that they got to help them, because I think Andy's a heck of a guy. And I got to reiterate one more time. You went down there, and you did some great interviews. You spent your time, and you knew what was going to happen when you went back home. Yeah. So my hat's off to you, buddy. I got to tell you, that's pretty cool.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to do, and seeing as how I did this, and I made this happen, I'm going to do my best to be there September 19th to help mug Richard Wilcox.
Piece of cake. I love it.
Let's gang up on Grandpa.
I love it. Well, you and I'll probably do a podcast together from there.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Actually, what I'd like to do, and if anybody's listening, I mean, don't hold us to us, because we're talking in public. So, just a few things you never do in public is you never make set plans, and you never propose to a woman in public.
That's right.
Just don't do it.
Pick your nose.
Anyway, if I fly out, assuming that I can arrange lodging, but I was thinking that maybe I could try to stay a couple extra days and sit in the booth with you on Tuesday.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because if I'm already out there,
that would be cool. Yeah, what I'm going to do is when we go up there, I've got a pop-up tent with the sides and everything. So it's actually going to be like a little booth for us to start with. And then we'll link up with Freddie. Freddie will be in Florida. So you and I'll be live, and then we'll pull Freddie in, and we should have a good time. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Absolutely. I just figured that while I'm there, though, I could be there for your Tuesday show too.
You absolutely can.
Just don't make me sit in Kiko's chair.
Never.
Not without disinfecting it thoroughly.
Never.
Lots and lots of Lysol.
I love it.
Maybe some Febreze.
Yeah, real quick, we were talking about the Field 1 place down there. You probably never got a chance to see Tom K. To see the actual setup that Tom K had when he was making automags.
No,
and I got to visit that probably 10, maybe more times. And it was just phenomenal. Everything you walk in, everything was so precise, Steve, where it was, and so clean, and it was huge. And then I go there.
Pictures.
Yeah, I go there one time, Steve, and he goes, "Freddie, you got to check this out." And I go, "What's that?" He goes, "Come in." He takes me back in this big room that he had there off the side of his complex, and he had a Miata. He had some kind of a valve or some damn thing that he made, and he had a Miata hanging from it, a Miata car. He had it hooked on his ceiling. He had this piece in the middle. He goes, "Now that's a strong piece, Freddie. That's never going to break." And it was just amazing. But that's the lengths this guy went to do stuff when he wasn't looking for bones. He loves. He's a dinosaur freak, man. He loves it. So,
I'm curious. What's your opinion? Who do you think the smartest person in paintball is?
Oh boy.
Because I got top 4, but I can't figure out who. There's Tom K, obviously. There's Glenn Palmer. There's Bud Orr.
Glenn. Yep.
And actually, I should say 5 because we got to include Dan Colby with his air systems.
Yep.
But what about Bill Mills? Because Bill Mills has actually built his own electric bikes, and he's done so much stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But I don't think he ever got credit for the genius that he's done. And I'm just wondering who you think would be one of the smartest.
Bill would be a good one. You brought up Glenn Palmer. Glenn, when I started hanging out with Glenn was building stuff in his garage. He had not yet got his shop going. And I go up there one day because I don't know if you remember the old 12 gram, you screwed it in, you put the 12 gram in, you screwed it back.
I started in 89. I started with 12 grams. CO2 did not exist up here.
And I go up there one day and I go, Glenn, what's that? And he goes, oh, check this out, Fred. I'm going to call it the Quicksilver. And you put it in, you push the lever, you pull the lever, it pops out, right?
Yeah.
So he has been in the forefront of a lot of things. And that's one guy that I have to honestly say doesn't get the credit I think he deserves.
Yeah, Glenn, absolutely. Yep. Like he just created so many different things, and then he sent out his stuff to other people that got credit for his inventions.
That's absolutely correct. Yep.
But I'm just trying to think who would be the smartest, and I don't know if I could choose between one of those 5 guys. I just don't know. Remember, you have to include Bill Mills, though.
Tom K is one smart cookie.
Oh, and
and Dan Colby. If you go back in the day when Dan was starting, he had his own factory and everything. You'd go in there, there'd be like 200 bottles sitting on the wall and just tons of regulators and stuff. He's just like right now, he's got a new reg coming out, right? But he wasn't happy with the spring pack. He's everything's got to be just precise for Danny,
Right.
But if I had to pick the smartest, I would probably have to go with Tom K. And not just because of the Automag, just because of everything that I've watched him do over the years with not just the markers, but with other things that he's done.
Did you know he's built his own drone that self-guiding,
right,
for searching for bones and stuff?
Yeah. Well, not just that, he was on the hunt for JB Cooper. Yeah. You see him on TV. He did that little
TV.
Segment. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. DB, like Delta Bravo.
DB.
Yeah.
There
DB
you
Cooper.
go. Yeah. Yeah. He was, Tommy was on TV showing that he thought he found part of the money by some river or something like that.
Right.
So, Tommy's one of them guys that always wants to know what's over the next hill, not literally, but, as far as thinking goes. So, and Bud Orr, you can't leave Bud out of this either.
I include him in the top 5.
You didn't. No, you didn't. And Bud and I, we go back a long ways too. You're just talking about guys that I traveled with and hung with and just partied with, but we'll stop that part right there. But,
hey.
These guys, people nowadays, Steve, do not give these guys really the credit for what paintball is today. These kids that they got, and I love the kids nowadays. They're great, but they go out and play, and they just honestly do not really know the history of how this sport got to this point for them to go do this.
But that's not their fault.
No,
there's nothing out there, and there's nobody out there short of a resurgence of people like us,
right,
that are out there to educate them. I mean, you've got PB Nation, and you've got
did this thing. He did history of paintball. I don't know if it's out yet.
Yeah, no, he did, and it's fantastic. But that's what I mean when I say people like you and I, like John Amadei did the history of paintball, which was great in what it was, but it left a lot out. You can't stick 40 years into 2 hours or 3 hours, no matter how hard you do. And like, you can never give everybody the credit they deserve. And that is not a slight against John. I think John is awesome, and what he's doing is incredible. And I can't say enough nice things about him. And he's done great things for me. He's letting me be a feature writer for his magazine and stuff. Like, I love John to death. But the point is short of PB Nation and McCarter Brown Forum, there's almost no real sources for people to really learn about paintball's history. Now, John Amadei has created the movie, which is awesome, but I think it's the new woods ball resurgent, people like Brad Gruitt and Marcus Davis and Kevin Donaldson, and creating the old woods ball and bringing that movement back. I think that is going to change how people see history of paintball, and I think it's going to make paintball bigger and better.
Well, you know, you and I are going to be a part of that too. I'm sure
we
you know
are.
that already.
A little bit.
Yeah, and I was very excited when Kevin called me up and offered me that also. So, you know,
going to Canada.
Yeah. You know, you didn't even notice I wore my damn Sky Dome shirt last night, man. My Hard Rock from the Hard Rock.
I didn't have my glasses on.
Didn't
I just had it on my phone.
I wore it special so you could say something, and all you did is call up and tease me. Man, I got to tell you. But yeah, I had it on last night, and that is the first time I wore that shirt. You know, Steve, I have got tons and tons of shirts from all the tournaments I went to. I've never worn. We just pack them up in the plastic and I put them away.
I've got one for you. You can violate that you don't have. So at Skyball, do you remember those leader goggles?
Yeah.
They had, you know, they were like the big things that look like TIE fighter goggles. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
I was on Team Leader. That was my very first factory sponsorship at Skyball. I have one of the original with the, I don't know if you remember, but they were like the big yellow, or they had the Z. So it was the big nuclear yellow Z camouflage, and it had Team Leader, or it had the, I will show it to you. And if you want, I will bring it to California and I'll let you try to violate one of my jerseys.
I gotta put it on. I gotta put it on, man.
Right?
No problem. I love it. But I still got. You remember Vince? You remember Vince goggles? Todd Nessler had Vince goggles.
I still got a T-shirt.
I still got a couple of those. I still got a couple of those unopened.
Oh, nice. Those are
they were my sponsors. I got tons of their clothes.
Yeah.
Todd was a great person. I definitely enjoyed being around him. He was another guy, I got to be honest with you, that always saw into the future for everything. So he was a pretty amazing kid too. But he was a kid, you know, compared to me.
Right.
So, but hell,
everybody's a kid compared to you, except Richard Wilcox.
Oh, thank you. There's always that one. I love it.
One guy that's older, and that's.
We're talking about John Amadeo. I've got paperwork. It's somewhere here of an interview that he got a hold of me in 1993 to do, and I've still got it all on paper. He sent it to me and he said, "Please, will you do this for me? I need to know these things about you and the team and everything like that." Uh-oh.
What are you doing?
I hope I'm running out of battery.
Oh, I can still hear you. There we go.
Hope that'll do it. You see me?
Yeah,
there
see
we go.
Fine.
Whoa, much better. Yeah, I was running out of battery. I figured I better plug this in. It's great. But yeah, I still got the original paper that he sent me. It's all handwritten on a legal pad, and then I sent him all my information. So that's still from 1993.
Nice. Kathy Alvarez. Yeah, I can hear you. Kathy Alvarez is asking if Jerry's older than you.
Cool. Okay.
I assume that's Jerry Braun. You still with me?
No, nobody's older than Jerry. You know. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. You know, Jerry and I, we go way back. Jerry and I traveled around a lot together too, but Jerry was around before the wheel.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all. Just be careful because I don't want him to sue me. I don't want to mess with that lawyer. I know.
Yeah. No, he's a good guy. You know, he's gave me like probably 4 cover shots on his magazine through the years.
Yep.
So he's and you know, whenever we would travel together, you know, I'd always tease him. You know, I'd walk up and get him in a headlock or something and start teasing him, and everybody that knew who he was, but they would just freak out, like, oh my God, that guy's going to get sued. He's got Jerry Brown in a headlock, man. But Jerry was just Jerry's fun. When you get him by yourself, he's just a riot. He really, really is.
Yeah.
And Kathy Alvarez, you know her, right?
Not personally, but I've been talking to her on a regular basis. She's one of my first really big supporters of my podcast, and I can't say enough nice things about her. Yeah, I've had her on a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah. When you come down for the cancer benefit, you'll see her then.
Right. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to make it. It just all depends on what's going on with COVID and the borders and things like that.
Yeah, no, I understand that. We'd like to have you. If not, I'm still going to be there, and I'll still put you on live with me. I'll bring my junk up there, and you can help me get it set up via the internet.
The biggest deal about that is that because I have to go through 2 weeks quarantine, that's 2 weeks I can't see my son. And that's not good. And my son's 10. So that's kind of a big deal. I talk to him every day. So it's not like I'm missing him. He knows I'm not an absentee father. He thinks I'm the coolest dad ever because I'm international gunfighter and professional show off. So I
would know nothing about that.
No, not you.
Well, I was actually honored that you got a hold of me and asked me to be on your show tonight. Because
I've been trying to get you on the show for months. Literally, before you even actually came back, I had put feelers out because if you've forgotten, because I know you're old there, but if you've forgotten, I'm a Boonie Boy now, and you used to have the Boonie Boys as half of Constant Pursuit in the late 90s. Now, I wasn't part of that team. I was one of their practice dummies back then. But you and I have always had, we've always been somewhat close.
Bumped into each other,
And you actually gave me the best advice ever. I know we've mentioned it in the past, so people forgive me if I sound like a broken record. And I literally have the shoes. I just don't want to get up from the camera. But when we were at Skyball the first year, or I think it was the first year, everybody was slipping and sliding everywhere. Nobody could get any traction because they used fake carpeting, and then
turf.
But it wasn't even real turf. It was more like synthetic grass.
Yeah.
And all the paint sludge was getting on it, and it was grease. Yep. Nobody was getting any traction anywhere. But you had these special little turf shoes that had these little teeny nubbins that were lots of them, and you actually had grip. And I came up to you because I saw that you had grip, and I saw these shoes. I'm like, what are you wearing? And you had, oh yeah, check these out. And you told me the name of the shoes, the whole bit. And the minute you and I stopped talking, I looked at my watch. I had time. I went to the Reebok store, which is up the road. I bought a pair of the shoes, and I came back, and you and I were wearing exactly the same shoes. And I was one of the only people with grip. And that led to a cool moment because I went to play, and because I had grip, what I did was I went for a slide, but a baseball slide, so my feet were up. And then as soon as I got before the bunker, I put my feet down. I came up, I came over the bunker, and I shot, and I got the guy over the top because I was actually able to get up and jump, and then I bounced off the bunker, which I thought was cool. But what was really cool was when my teammate grabbed me by the head, pointed at me at the Jumbotron, and I got to see myself do that in slow motion. That was probably my biggest claim to fame ever, even better than this. Because when you see yourself on the Jumbotron of a major sporting event, just doing something in slow-mo that was just that badass. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love going up to the Sky Dome. And you're right. The Boonie guys, I took 5 of them because and that actually came from one of the Dome games when they were playing. And I said, hey, they were 5-man teams then. And I said, would you 5 guys like to come down? And I'll take 5 CP guys and you 5 guys, I said, and we'll go play a tournament. And they were just, hell yes, let's do it, man. So I flew them down. I took care of all their stuff all the time.
Yep.
I flew them down, and great bunch of guys.
I know it was Martin and Andrew and Paul were 3 of them. I forget who the other 2 were.
Remember. I got to apologize. I cannot remember the name. But they were terrific guys. I can tell you that much. And the Sky Dome, I loved it. Uh-oh. What happened?
Weasel, the spin master, just said, "Yo."
Tell Weez I said hi.
Weez watch it, yeah.
I love Weez. You know, I mean, like I say, he was a youngster. You got to remember when I started playing tournaments, the Ironman, the captain for the Ironman was Rick Beard.
Right.
You know Michael Beard?
Yep.
His father was the captain.
Yes.
Yep. You know, that never changed to Bob Long.
Right.
That never changed to Bobby until we went back to do a tournament back east in it was in Nashville. I got a quick story on that too. Bobby already knows about this. All right. We go to Nashville, and I had a guy and his wife were on my team. Their name was Mike and Marva Govey. I think was her last name. So anyhow, so we fly in 3 days early, and I take my wife because we're going to go check everything out, go to the Opryland Motel and all this other stuff. So we get in, and we're checking into the motel. True story, I swear. So we're checking into the motel, and I'm sitting there, and we're talking to the girl, and she's got that little Southern slang, and and me and Mike Govey are checking in with her, and she goes, you from Constant Pursuit? And I go, yeah, yep. I said, the rest of the team's going to be here in a couple of days. She goes, I know. She goes, we got another team staying here called the Ironmen. And I go, oh, you're kidding. You don't know? And she goes, no, what? And I go, oh, I said, they've got some problems. I don't think they're going to make it. She goes, oh, well, that's a shame. And, we walk away and we're laughing about it. And I didn't think nothing of it, right? Well, 3 days later, my wife and Mike and his wife are out. We come back to the hotel and we go in. And here's Bob Long, 14 guys, 7 of them brought their women, and they're sitting in the lobby. True story, I swear to God. So I walk in and go, Bobby, what's going on? He goes, we don't have any rooms. I go, you don't have any rooms? He goes, yeah, they canceled our rooms and there's no other rooms left. And I go, oh my God. I go, let me see what I can do for you, Bob. So I'm walking over to the receptionist, and Mike Govey's with me. He's white as a ghost now. Yeah, I mean, he's scared out of his mind. He goes, oh my God, they're going to kill us, Fred. I go, calm, be calm. So I walk over to the girl. I go, tell me you didn't cancel their rooms. And she goes, well, you said they weren't coming. I go, sweetheart, you couldn't see I was joking around. We were laughing when I was saying it. And she goes, there's just no rooms. I go, you got to get them some rooms. She goes, well, there's just no rooms. I go, well, you cancel their rooms, cancel somebody else's rooms and give them some rooms. Make a long story short, all 15 guys or 7 women stayed in 3 rooms for that entire tournament.
Well, it's better than sleeping on a bench.
I guess, but I got to tell you, man, I felt lousy, and I never told Bob until just a while ago. I figured I'd let it sit for 25 years before I threw it out there. and they all have
a good call. Pardon?
They all had one van too. They had one big van, and I always had a white town car. That was my status symbol that I always had to have. So I got this town car, and my wife and I are driving along, and this van pulls alongside me, and the van starts leaning sideways like this. And my wife goes, oh my God, Fred's that van going to tip over? And I look down like that, and here it's Bobby and all the Ironmen. They're all crowded over to one side looking at me. I thought they were going to kill me, man. I go, well, time for us to go. We had some great times, really.
Oh, yeah. So if you had to pick your favorite tournament that you ever played, and I'm not saying that you won, but where do you think you had the most fun? Like, is there one specific tournament that just jumps out? Like for me, it was Wasaga Beach, the Canadian Amateur Open in, I believe it was 98. For me, that was my pinnacle. Not that I didn't enjoy them all, but I think that was my favorite time.
Yeah. I would have to say too, Steve, I couldn't pick just one. I would have to say Jim Lively's Masters in Tennessee. And I would have to say Jerry Braun's World Cup in New York. I had equal fun at both of those places. I could sit and tell you stories for 100 years about both places.
But you've been playing for 300.
Yeah, I know. I mean, in fact, I still got my wooden marker around here someplace. I used to have to blow the ball out. But yeah, like we would go, every spot had its own special thing. But when we go do Jerry's, his father-in-law was an old guy, okay, obviously. And he would be the guy out in the parking lot parking the cars and stuff, telling people where to park. And the guy took no crap from nobody. Let me tell you, he was pure New York, period. And so people would pull in, and he first thing he goes, no, you can't park there. Get out of there. Get out, move, put that car over there, right? And so I'd pull in there. Every time I'd pull in, he'd go, no, you can't. Freddie, you park over here, Freddie. And I just remember that guy every time. That in the big bus. They had a big bus. Jerry used to bring busloads of people every weekend out to play paintball. So he had a great big old Camel bus. He'd load everybody in, bring them out. They'd play paintball, and then he'd ship them back. And then Jim Lively. You never met Sam Caldwell, probably.
I don't think so.
No,
I honestly not sure who I met, because back then, as you know, things got to be a bit of a blur. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you've got a message here. Cliff Meyer, the head of the Lords of Discipline, or Discipline Lords. I always mix the two up.
Right.
1993 International Masters in Nashville, Tennessee is the first time he met you.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, well, I actually used to ref for Cliff back in the 90s for a few games.
Is that right?
Yep.
Well, Cliff, I appreciate very much you chiming in, buddy. That's pretty cool. I got to tell you, there's probably, I can't even tell you how many people I've met. I mean, I just can't even tell you. There's just been literally hundreds of thousands of people I've met over the years when I was doing that. And a lot of people I couldn't remember by their name, but I could remember them by their face. And
because all the masks look different, right?
Without the mask, yeah. and I got to tell you, that was my biggest charge of anything, was having somebody come up to me and think that I was important enough that they were excited to meet me, and they would never ever understand that for me that was a supercharge. I mean, I got more out of talking to them than I think that they ever got out of talking to me, but they never seen it that way. I could tell you stories, like I say, Steve, for 100 years. It just blow you away. But as far as being in paintball and where I got to in the sport, I just felt blessed, period. And it's mostly from the people I got to meet.
I'll be honest with you. I felt that very way on the weekend out at Dynamic out in Aurora, out in Colorado, because people knew I was coming. And people showed up, and people were coming out of the woodwork. She's like, "Are you Steve?" And like, "I just want to shake your hand. I love your podcast." I'm like, "Thank you so much." But no, people came out of the woodwork to shake my hand, and that was humbling and mind blowing. And I don't even know what the words to describe.
It absolutely is. Last night we had Rico Fernandez from down in Florida on. And that's what he said to me too. He humbled me. Matter of fact, I couldn't even hardly say anything after he did that, because I'm not the best guy to take praise. I'm just one of them guys that just likes to be one of the guys, Right. And Fred Schultz ended up being Fred Schultz because of guys like Tim Schloss and Dan Colby and Tom Kay and Rainey and Juvie Boucher. You know them, right?
I know of them.
They had Paintball News.
Yeah.
And these two would put out a magazine twice a month, and they would never charge the people for it. You could pick up that magazine at all the fields out here and everywhere. They'd ship out thousands of copies every 2 weeks, actually. So twice a month. And those are two I never thought really got the credit. When I did my show at MGM Disney, I took and put all the people that I thought really helped the sport on that show. Jerry Braun was one of the refs.
Right.
Rainey Boucher was on the other team. Todd Nessler was on the other team. Dan Colby was on the other team. Dennis Chipman Jr. was on the other team. Billy Garner was on the other team. And, we just had a great time. And I had a guy ask me one time, he goes, well, why'd you put all your friends on the show? And I told him, I said, well, how good do you think the show would have been if I'd have put all my enemies on it? It was just, but that's how people think. They think, wow, he put all his friends on. I put people on that not only helped Fred Schultz become Fred Schultz, I put them on because what they did for paintball.
Right.
You know, these are the unsung heroes that people don't know a lot about right now, man.
And truthfully, though,
Cliff just said, love the game at Universal.
Yep.
Cliff, you are terrific. I'm on Facebook, buddy, finally, after forever. And I'm still figuring it out, everybody. But Cliff, if you could chime in to me, I would take you as a friend in a hot second. So just for what it's worth.
I've still got my, by the way, Cliff, since you're watching, I've still got the sweater and the long sleeve shirt and the t-shirt, which is Lords of Discipline, in the bright red with the big yellow dragon.
Oh, is that right? Or
Discipline Lords. Yeah. So those are like, I've given away so much of my clothes and stuff, but there's certain things I had to keep. And my reffing gear was one of them.
Right. Well, you know, all my jackets and stuff and my shirts and everything, I probably got about 15 jackets, and they're all from different manufacturers and different sponsors I had, but I would never wear them out and roll around or nothing. I've got my Air America jacket right there. Dan Colby had 2 of them made, one for Dan Colby and one for Fred Schultz. And those are the only 2 in existence. And, you know, I just treasure them. So I just baby the hell out of them. And then I got my paintball jacket. You've seen it hanging on my sign that says paintball front and back. I got that from Gino 100 years ago. Matter of fact, I think it was right after he bought Rick Fairbanks out.
Right.
So yeah, he sent me the jacket. And, you know, Gino and I could never really link up and do a lot for Gino, you know, and I like the hell out of the guy. I really do. I like the way he operates, and I just like him, period. But I was always tied in with other sponsors that I could not really jump in with him. But I would do anything right now for Gino. I just like the guy. So
that's one of the funny things about paintball that a lot of people don't understand. I mean, yes, there is a lot of backdoor politics, and we're not going to get into those conflicts because, quite frankly, it has no place in my podcast. Yeah, I don't do it either. But most of us, like you and I, we've got to the point where just because we're on different companies, that doesn't mean we don't like, love, and respect you. I think that Leds is a primary example of that, because when Tim Montresor passed away, Leds put out, or I shouldn't say Leds, but Planet Eclipse put out a whole lot of stuff about all the respect that they had for Tim and whatnot. And I like how paintball seems to have learned from its mistakes for the most part. There's still a few twits, but I like how paintball has learned from it. And I'm seeing that a lot with the Ali Remembered Foundation, because we have a big sponsor with Virtue. But I'm still able to, even though we're sponsored by Virtue, we've also got, now we have sponsorship from Push. And I've always been since I've found out about Push, I've been big on Push, but people are letting us be who we are. And there's no, it's all about, let's help the kids, let's help the people, let's set the politics aside, and let's just make paintball better. And I love that about paintball today. It seems like a lot of the politics have gone away.
Well, that was one of the big things too that I really disliked about paintball back in the day, was the politics, and that's what kind of steered me. I tipped my tractor over, and I hurt my ribs and stuff. So that's what stopped me from really traveling for a few months. And then once I stopped doing that, I just says, you know what? I've been doing this for 17 years. I think it's time I'm going to just lay low for a while. And that's exactly what I did. But the politics was part of it. It just, you know, just because you're not sponsored by that guy doesn't mean you have to badmouth them or talk against them. You know, if you haven't got anything nice to say about somebody, then just don't say anything. You know, keep it really, really simple. And that's one thing that always burnt me about paintball. You know, and when I played tournaments, I had some sponsors, you know, the sponsors I talk about are terrific, but I had some other sponsors that when I would go to a tournament, don't ever think the pressure wasn't on, you know. I would do a lot of live television, and if I didn't do a live TV, if they set it up and I didn't do a live TV because I didn't have time, they would get all pissed off at me, So I had my sponsors watching me. I had the team, to take care of the team. I had a lot of people out there expecting you because you are who you are to be number one at everything that you do,
Yes,
and,
I do.
Yeah, and the pressure sometimes was really, really great, but never one time ever that somebody didn't come up to me that I ever let the pressure. I'd turn it off in a second and sit and talk to them and bullshit with them because I just liked it.
Like some young kid that came up and asked about your shoes.
Yeah. Wow. You're still the kid, man.
Compared to you, Richard and Jerry, yeah.
Hey, don't put me in there with Rich. Come on. You gotta leave Wilcox. He's by himself over there, But yeah, I am really, really glad that you are in the sport. I'm really glad what you do because that's the reason I basically came back because once everybody found out I was back, let me tell you, I have got offers like I can't even begin to tell you. I obviously pick
roll them my way.
Yeah. Wait, Rick.
I'll take scraps. I'm not proud.
Rick Bailey up there. He's up in Vancouver. Yeah. He did the comic book.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Splatoons.
Splatoons. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah. He put me in a comic book. Him and I have got some really good things going right now that are really, really going to be terrific.
Anything I can do to help, let me know out there, and we'll make.
I'll keep you in the loop. Because he had his son had a sickness.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And his son passed away. So anyhow, Rick, when I knew Rick back in the day, and he put me in a cartoon, I was in his comic book. I was absolutely just. It just flattered me that he did that.
Right.
Well, then now that he found out I'm back in and I got on Facebook, he has contacted me and him and I've been going back and forth. And he says it's like a rejuvenation of his life and he feels like doing things again. So him and I've got some really, really cool things going on right now, Steve. And I will definitely keep you in the loop. As a matter of fact, I might even put you in a segment of it, which I think you might appreciate that. That's how I started in it with the same thing too. So I'll definitely keep it in mind. But I just want to tell everybody out there that you, Brad Gruitt, the guys from Behind the Bunker, the Command Bros, back east, all these people work extremely hard, and you actually put your butt on the line when you're on here. Because, you say you can make 1 million people happy, but the one person that you're going to piss off is going to just haunt you all the time, And that's the sad part about it, because without guys like yourself working to keep building the sport it will never grow. I want it to grow. By the time I pass on, I would like to know that I helped start paintball and I really got it rolling good when I was young. I want to do the same thing before I cash out now.
Well, I know that I've actually had to delete 2 podcasts that never got a chance to that nobody will ever listen to. I just flat out deleted it because it went to they took it in a political way, and I'm like, guys, like we gotta well, they threw the freedom of speech thing at me, and I'm like, you know what? If that's the way you feel,
see ya.
Let me know, and I will help you set up your podcast so that you can say anything that you want. I will dedicate hours to help you get your message out. But you're on my podcast and it's my message. And my message is friendship and positive energy, and let's move forward and let's make this place better and let's lift everybody else up. Let's not tear anybody down. But I said, if you want to do a podcast that lets the truth out, then so be it. That, and I'm sure that there are people that are listening to you, and I will give you my time and I will help you make your own, but not on mine.
There you go. Yeah. But like I said earlier, that's the reason I came on your podcast is it's about respect and about what you do for the sport.
I have no respect for you.
I don't care about that. I didn't mention that. I just think that if people don't like the talk forum like we're having right now.
Right.
There's probably a lot of people that are listening going, holy crap, I didn't know that happened, or I didn't know anything about that, or I didn't know this person, but now they do, you know? And without this type of forum like this, you can never get the word out. You know, you can't stand on your front porch and yell. You're only going to reach your neighbors.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
So I appreciate it very much.
And you do know that this podcast, as we're talking right now, it's going to my Facebook group, my YouTube channel, my Twitch channel, and it's also live on Paintball Media Magazine's Facebook group, which has 40,000 people.
Wow, you're a busy little beaver.
It's all live. It's all simultaneous. This is happening right now live.
Oh,
so this
cool.
is John Amadea, the super guy that he is, says,
Yep.
Steve, I like you. I trust you. I like the message that you want to portray. You are welcome to use. You are welcome to broadcast on my page as well. So
very good. Well, I'd have known that. I'd have dressed up. Yeah, John. I like John. You know, John did an interview. He came out and did an interview with me. He says, yeah. When they set it up, they go, yeah, Fred, it's going to be about 20 minutes. But hell, John and I talked for an hour and 20 minutes, man. So he's a good guy, and he's been around a long time too. You know.
Oh yeah.
He's definitely put his dues in. There is no doubt about it.
Oh yeah. I had him. He was one of my first guests when all I did was audio. And so I did a phone call, and this was right when he was releasing information about his upcoming movie, which has now been released, or upcoming documentary, which has now been released. And
have you watched it yet?
Yes, I did. He was.
I bought
he was
the DVDs, nice. But I haven't got them yet. So
yeah, well, you can stream it live, but I know that's not something you do. So I have seen. Well, you know, you've got all those VHS tapes.
It is.
You know, how do I stick the SIM card in the slot? But no, I streamed it and I set it up on my TV. And so myself and my buddy Jimmy, who's been my best paintball friend for the last 30 years, we watched it, and it was 3 hours long. But the DVD that's coming out is 6 hours.
Right. That's why I understand.
So I haven't seen that one yet, but my copy is already purchased.
Yeah, I did that too. I sent it to him, I don't know, a month and a half ago, I guess, pre-ordered it. So I'm just waiting to get it. I think sometime September is what I was hearing before. So I don't know now.
I'm not 100% sure. All I know is like I told him, I said, okay, so it's coming out. Please take 2 copies out of my pay, because I write for them as well, right? So,
right on, man. Yeah, I just like I say, I still got the same interview from John, 1993. So
nice.
We've got some time behind us too.
So I'm trying to talk. Andy Starrett to coming into Cali as well, just so you know. Now the trial for his daughter's killer is landing in right around the same time. But really? Andy really wants to come, just so you know. Him and I talked when I was in Denver, and he was very appreciative of the jacket. And like, I mean, we joked around with the pictures, but when him and I were having a moment going through all the stuff and sorting stuff and getting things ready to take to the field, and we had a real heart-to-heart talk. And I got to tell you, he really appreciated it. Now, I know he'll tell you to your face as well, but take it from me, I can't even tell you enough how much he appreciated all the stuff from you and Yosh and everyone else. But we did 4 times more, I believe, and we still haven't got. There's one last auction piece that came up late, and it was for a set of tires and rims. So it's worth. Yeah. They're worth like, I think it's almost $2,500-$3,000. So what, I don't know what they're going to go for in the auction, but we completely blew last year's fundraising out of the water.
That's outstanding.
That should really help with this year.
Yeah, I put Andy on the show, I think like 5 or 6 weeks before the actual event. I had him on every week, and I would talk about it and push it to everybody I knew. You know, to get out and try to do it, you know. And, you know, we talked about William Bailey a little while ago. You know, William has a lot of followers.
Yes, he does.
I got to tell you, you know, I mean, he's a good old boy. He's just fun to talk to, but he's got a lot of followers. You'd be amazed.
Oh no, I believe it.
Yeah, the guy's got a lot of friends, and it's funny too because he lives in Missouri, but he's never met Tim Schloss either. So,
I don't know what to tell you.
yeah. I'll tell you a real quick story how cool everybody is. Tim Schloss, Tim Schloss is a boat racer. Matter of fact, he's rehabilitating a couple of his old racing boats. Okay.
Cool.
Anyhow, he found a motor up in Minnesota that he'd been looking for forever. Well, Brad Gruitt lives in Minnesota, right? Well, come to find out, the guy that had the motor up there only lived just maybe an hour from Brad. So Brad went and picked up the motor, and because Brad was going to do something down in Missouri, it went and picked up the motor for Tim and took it down to Tim. Now, Brad didn't know Tim before this.
Right.
Okay. I got those two together. We did a show, Brad's show, and Tim and I were both on it at the same time. Tim had a little problem because he was at his son-in-law's and the feed was lousy. It was, it was a real big delay. But anyhow, make a long story short, he just met him, but Brad went and picked that motor up and took it down to Tim. Now that's people helping people.
Yes.
Period. And now Tim Schloss, and take my word for it, Tim Schloss is a heavy hitter.
I don't doubt that.
He might not be making uniforms anymore, but he is definitely in the loop. This guy's got more friends than you can even believe. But him and Brad now are also friends because Brad could have says, I ain't got time to go get that and drive an hour out of my way once I get there to give it to you. But he did. So, that's people helping people in paintball.
Yep.
So,
well, I don't know if you saw the pictures, but we had something similar that happened. We had a tire go out, and with one of our cars, and then another vehicle had some brake issues, and so a shop was nice enough to open up for us, and we were able to go in, get vehicles fixed on a Sunday when everything was closed, and that's just family helping family. You know what I mean? Like I can't say enough nice things about how this all works out. So
yeah. If everybody in paintball would do just exactly what you just said, instead of trying to look better or act better or be better than the next guy, just be equal to him and have a good time. I got to tell you, everybody got along. The sport would explode. It really would.
I totally agree. Now I have a question for you because we've gone over an hour and I don't have a time limit. You guys have a time limit, but I don't. We can talk as long as you want. Like if this takes 3 hours, so be it. So the minute you have to say go, I understand. But I'm curious as to what your favorite paintball gun that you've ever owned was. I mean, we all have that one special one. And I know you've always liked auto mags, but so I'm assuming it's a specific auto mag, or was it one of your pump guns? Like what was your favorite?
I just got to say the mag. I started out, Ross Alexander, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know of him.
Okay. Well, he was my first real sponsor for Marker. It was a pump. I got to hear someplace.
Sure.
Anyhow, it was the Bushmaster, and he was my first sponsor, and I really, really liked that. But once I got linked up with Tom Kay, and just like the guys at Field One, you see the time and the effort and the money that they actually put in to the engineering of this stuff. Because you go pick it up and you buy it, and it just means nothing to you. But if you had to sit and have each piece microned and put together and working perfect and jiving with the next piece and so on, it gets complicated. You know that for a fact. But a lot of the kids out there don't. They just go pick it up and it is what it is.
Yeah, so, and then they'll trade it out. And we back in the day, if you bought a brand new gun, and this is nothing against Bud Orr, this was all paintball guns, but back in the day, they did not work 100% out of the box.
Absolutely.
Every single gun had its own personality, and then you had to modify it. My personal favorite paintball gun is a 97 autococker that I bought from Badlands in Toronto, and I still own it to this day, and I'm contemplating whether I want it put in my casket with me when I go. The only thing stock on that autococker is the back block. Everything else has been milled, polished, drilled, modified, replaced, upgraded. Like every single screw been replaced with stainless steel, and like the only thing that's stock is the back block, and that's only because I haven't had time to drill it to put a little screw in there so that the cocking rod doesn't spin. But it's getting modified too when I get around to it. It's taken me some decades, but that's my all-time favorite.
Yeah, the autococker was great. Bud gave me one years ago, but I was sponsored by Tom Kay. But I went over, and in England, I did a tournament over there in England, and I used the autococker over there. I had my mag with me, but I shot the autococker because back then it was really a new thing over there. So when I took it over there, everybody was like, "Oh my God, what is that thing?" And so it was pretty cool. But yeah, and like I say, what Bud still does for people is great. Andy Strat. I love it. You gotta love it. Come on, man.
I really do. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when that flies up, you just gotta roll with it.
No, man. Hey, it's your show, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here bowling with you. I didn't know anybody was watching.
We actually have 11 people watching at the moment. Well, I've got 4 people watching us on Paintball Media, 1 person watching us on Twitch, 4 people watching on Popular Unknown, my channel, and we've got 2 people watching on YouTube as we speak.
Cool. Very, very cool. Well, I'm honored every time that, just like when I do my show, I'm just honored when people come on. It just it makes you feel like you're just not out there blowing smoke. Your people are interested, and maybe they learn a little stuff. That's why people watch you all the time. You went to Colorado, so a lot of people didn't go to Colorado. So you are their eyes and ears from Colorado, from the tournament,
Yep.
And you sat with Andy, the ins and the outs, and that's what makes this stuff so good. That's why I think this is so special.
Well, I really want, my goal is, there's so many cool stories out there. Back in the 90s, there was 3, 4, 5 magazines, depending on what month you were talking about.
Yep.
And
you remember Frontline? You ever see Frontline?
I had 1 or 2, but very little do I remember about it. I was APG, PSI, Paintball Sports. I think I had some Paintball News. There was another folded one. There was Paint. There was
Keith Adema had one too.
Right.
You remember Keith Adema?
I know of him. I never met him.
Yeah, he was actually one of my sponsors until he got off the rail.
He went way off the rails.
That was it. But let me tell you something about his product. He made a product that was top notch. Period.
Oh yeah.
And I've still got the harness he made me. It's a vest I put on that my pods and stuff all fit in the vest. It was just cool as hell. But I still like Keith a lot. Don't get me wrong. But Keith, it was Keith's way or the highway. And
he went off into the other Everglades and did something, and he's passed now, hasn't he? Like, didn't he get?
I believe so. But he, where it really started was when we were at Deborah's place, the Amateur Open, Pittsburgh Amateur Open, Deborah Dion.
Yep.
Okay. So
International Amateur Open, IAO.
Yep. So we were there, and Keith brought his stuff there, and his dog Sargy, which was his best buddy and was a great police dog. And so I did a photo shoot for him and everything like that. And some guys came by, and they had a vest that they had copied his vest. Well, next thing you know, Keith is jumping over the table at this guy, grabbing the guy and starting to tear him up. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And then that got broke up. So Keith stands up. He goes up and stands up on the table, and buys one of the guy's vests, stands up on the table, and just rips the guy's vest apart. And then everybody in the audience is watching him and laughing. And they're like, all right. He goes, come on, anybody come up and tear this. All these big guys come up and could not tear his vest at all. But he didn't do it in a graceful way. He did. Yeah, not at all. And, that's when I started distancing myself from Keith. I told Keith, And I told him flat out too. I did the photo shoot for him that time. And I told him, I says, you know, you are a great guy, but I said, this is not how I want to be perceived. And he goes, oh, he says, I'll calm down. I go, you know what? You can calm down all you want. Now I think the damage has been done.
Right.
And I just got a thing go across my thing, said they chopped him up in Mexico.
Yeah, that was Kevin Donaldson that said that, by the way.
Yeah, and which I could believe too. Because like I say, you know, Keith was Keith. He was
I think that there's actually a whole documentary on him and the crazy stuff that he did. And they didn't do much about his paintball stuff, but they did about the other aspects of his life. But yeah, he was something else. He, you know, he'd make a phone call and get something done though. Let me tell you, I was at some tournament, I can't remember where it was, and I had lost something. And he goes, have you got this? And I go, nah. I says, someone must have took it. He goes, I'll have it here for you this afternoon. This is like 10 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, in a different state. And I go, nah, Keith, it's cool. Don't worry about it. Man, that afternoon he walked up to me and he had it. He had it flowing out to me. So, yeah, he could get stuff done if he wanted to. Yep. Wow.
But he just went off the rail. And it was a shame because when I first met him, he was a hell of a nice guy. Really, really was. But
I know a lot of people liked him. I've met a few people.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Tomlinson says I talked with him right up until he died.
Yep. Well, Kevin went out. You know, Kevin and I, we go back to the Ice Age. So, you know, we know you were still a kid back then when Kevin and I were hanging.
Well, I started playing in 1989. Paintball was only in existence for 8 years. So,
yep. Yeah, I started, I believe, in 84. And then I got the field going in like 85. And then I started traveling once I heard there was, you know, because once we started like Constant Pursuit, I had a field out there with I had a construction company and I had a partner. And that's what got me started in paintball was we couldn't figure out what to get my partner for his birthday. We had like 35 guys working for us. Right. So anyhow, one of the guys goes, oh man, you should see this new thing. It's called a paintball gun. And I go, really? I go, who's got one? He goes, Honest John. And Honest John had a gun shop down here in town. He wasn't so honest, but he had a gun shop anyhow. So we went and bought him the Splatmaster and we bought him a case of paintballs. And a case of paintballs back then was 10 tubes. And that was $30, $3 a tube. So anyhow, we bought it and we gave it to him for his birthday and we're all out there and he takes it out and he starts shooting it. And I'm like, I got to have one of these. This is cool as hell. So I went and bought one myself. So then we're out at his house in the regular neighborhood and he shoots me in the ankle, right? And I go, you turkey, man. So I start put my thing in there and I start pushing it and shooting back at him. Well, then the guys that work for us, next thing we know, they're coming to work and they go, hey, check it out. I bought one of these, you know, after payday on Friday. And so we found a little spot up on, there was a lot. It was about maybe a half an acre. So we'd go up there on Sunday with the crew and we'd go up there and play paintball with no goggles or nothing. That's how it started. Right. And we go up and we play paintball. Well, one day we show up there and like 35 guys are there. And I'm like, you know, guys, this ain't going to work on this little lot. These neighbors are going to come out and shoot us, man. Right. So that's when my partner goes, well, you know what? There's a grove out of town. He goes, let's go see if they'll let us play there. So that's where we went and actually started. It was called Battle Action Games. And that's where we started, was right there. We had it for years. Now it's the Jungle. Bob DeLeo owns it now. But yeah, we were the first ones to start it back then. And once we started playing paintball, then we heard Jim Lively had a tournament back there. So we were all sitting at a table one day. And I says, you know what? I want to go play that tournament. I said, you guys want to come with me? I says, or you just, you know, want to stay here and I'll go find a bunch of other guys. And they're like, no, Freddie, we want to go with you, you know? I said, all right, well, let's do a ballot and see who's going to be the captain of this team. Well, obviously I got it right away. And then we had to think of a name. So we're sitting there and some of the names, man, if I could remember them, they were just hilariously stupid, you know? And so anyhow, so we're sitting there and one guy goes to me, he said something about, yeah, the way you chased me. I said, oh, that's right, baby. I'm constant on you. I says, I'll pursue you constantly. And my partner goes, that's it, Freddie, constant pursuit. And that's how it started right there. And the first big tournament we went to was Jim Lively's back there in Tennessee. And it was terrific. Absolutely terrific.
Awesome.
So that's kind of how it started rolling for me. And then I went and did, I heard they had Ronald McDonald House charities and stuff like that. And I just went because it was paintball. So I just went and had a great time. And I did about 3 or 4 different charities. And then I was at one, I believe, down in LA. And Randy Camilla?
Yeah, he used to be the editor for APG, and he played on Guns of Navarone. I almost bought his Line SI Bushmaster, but it went to a guy named Dirty Dan up in Ottawa.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I was
this close to buying it.
Yeah, because Randy and I obviously were good friends, but I didn't know him then. But he played a couple games on Constant Pursuit, and he was in the show that I did at MGM Disney too. He was one of the guys that played in Constant Pursuit there. Anyhow, make a long story short, he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, weren't you at this place, and this place?" I go, "Yeah." I said, "I've been having a great time." And he introduced himself, but never said he was from APG. He just introduced himself as Randy Camilla. So anyhow, we're talking away, and he goes, "Wow." He says, "Well, who's your sponsor?" And it's kind of shocked me a little bit. I go, "Sponsor?" I go, "For what?" And he goes, "Well, I see you flying to all these places and doing these things." He goes, "You got to have sponsor." I go, "Oh, no, man." He says, "I'm the sponsor." I said, "I'm paying for myself." And he goes, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." So anyhow, we traded phone numbers, and I get back home, and the following week I get a call, and he goes, "Yeah," he said, "I'd like you to fly down to Burbank." He goes, "I'm the editor for APG, and I would like to put you on the cover, And first I thought he was blowing smoke up my butt, and I laughed. I go, "Yeah, right on, buddy." And he goes, "I'm serious, Fred." He goes, "Come on down." So I went down there, and that was the first of, I probably had, 4 or 5 cover shots on APG. And that was the first one I ever did. And that's how Randy and I got linked up, was just like that.
Nice. How's Randy doing now? Do you still talk to him?
I haven't talked to Randy in a while, so I can't tell you. His wife was a teacher. I understand she got laid off or something like that. But you couldn't find a nicer, more mellow guy than Randy Camilla, and he ran APG. People just like to work for him. That's why it was so easy for him to do things. And he'd have a lot of the movie stars would come in down there and sit and talk to him and have a good time with him. He traveled a lot too. He went to all the big tournaments and stuff. So
right.
Randy, great guy. That, like I say, 3 people that were in the media that I really, really liked. And that was Rainey and Juby Boucher, Jerry Braun, and Randy Camilla. And that was before, John Armadillo really started expanding and getting big. But I would put John in that now. Yeah.
Now, just your curiosity, who's because you've met so many great people, and I know there's a bunch of people that I would still like to meet, Tom K being one of them, and so hopefully sometime down the road. But I know I've talked to Tom on Facebook and stuff. I haven't actually shook his hand.
Terrific person.
But, I know. But if you could name 2 or 3 people that you'd really like to meet that you haven't met yet, who would you think? Because there's a lot of new players out there. There's a lot of new teams. There's a lot of new stuff. And since you've been back into paintball and you've been looking around, who would you like to meet?
Wow, that's a tough one, Steve. I really don't have an answer for that. I can say I'm grateful for meeting you.
Thank you.
I met some of the people out here out the local fields, like guys like Robert Brandon. Now this is a guy that's around here. He's got 2 sons that play paintball. Yep. Just a terrific person. I never knew him before. Sam Wyrick. I never knew him before, but he does the card thing, for the, these guys, like I say, when you see Mr. Fred and Friends, I've talked about my old friends and all the people that I've met that are new. So I can't honestly tell you anybody that I would hope to meet. I just kind of take it day by day. And, if people come up to me and they want to talk to me, I'm right there to talk back to them. Like Kathy Elvis. I never knew Kathy before, but Uncle Kevin Donaldson, we call him Uncle Kevin. Anyhow,
I know.
Kevin knew her forever, and yes. I never knew her until Freddie linked me up with her. And terrific person. She takes her son everywhere to go play paintball, and he's turning into a heck of a little player. So
that's what I hear.
Yeah, I really can't tell you. I just can't tell you who I would want to meet, except it would be everybody.
I agree with that. With getting back to Kathy though for a second, talk about a paintball pedigree. Her brother was part of the original Master Blasters. She's flying out here. Now she spends all her time with the OG Iron Men, the Dogs of War, like people like yourself. And so this kid is growing up under that umbrella. I like with that kid hits his stride and he decides he wants to take it to the next level. I think he's going to be a juggernaut. Like he'll be like J-Rab.
Yep. Well, I don't know if you know Mark Gong. He plays. Mark Gong is a guy that he was on the original Constant Pursuit team. He now plays with the OG Ironman. Okay. He took his son out. His son on Father's Day. His son's birthday fell on Father's Day. So for a birthday and a Father's Day thing, they both went out and played paintball. Well, this was I think his son's 10 years old. And this was his son's first paintball experience. And his son went out and got 2 eliminations right off the bat. And I got to tell you, Mark was floating. He was so proud. And you know what? And what I was proud of is I was proud of Mark, because Mark took his son out and is teaching him not only how to play the game, but the respect that the game should actually have when you do go out and play it. You should have respect for everybody out there. When you're on the field, like I always say, you play hard, play safe, but play fair.
Yes.
And that's what he's instilling in his son. And that's something that Mark has done forever, and now that's the next generation, 10 years old, that is going to be growing up, and he's going to be growing up in a positive way for the sport itself.
Well, my son is 10, and this was supposed to be his year to start playing. I've got him set up with his own goggles. Like he's got some Vulcan goggles that'll fit his head. And he's got, I rebuilt an old invert mini, which just revs. It may be faster than mine because it's not really capped. And so, like he's got his own fanny pack with suspenders, and like I've got him fully set up, and he's like, I want to go play. And I'm like, COVID, we can't, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe in the fall.
His time will come, and he's got you to show him how to do it in such a positive manner. And that to me is just absolutely terrific.
Well, not
the
just
next generation.
Yes. And it won't just be me. It won't just be me. It'll be like I had him out at the last Booney Boys picnic, and he was just welcomed in with open arms. He just thought it was the greatest thing ever, because the Booney Boys get together every year, right?
Right.
So even if we're not playing together, we're still socializing.
Good.
But between
all I said hi when you talk to them.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure they're going to watch this. So, but yeah.
Well,
all right, my friend.
Yeah, your son couldn't have had a better dad. All right. Well,
we could have had more money. All right. Well, listen,
Steve, I appreciate you having me on, buddy.
All right. And you know what? We're going to do more stuff together. I'm sure we'll have more chats like this. And I'm really going to do my best to see you guys and hang out on September 19th at the cancer benefit. Like I'm going to out in Sacramento way. Do you remember what the name of the field is? Because honestly, off the top of my head, I can't remember.
It's Anthony's. It's Dave Bain's field, and I think it's Capital Edge Paintball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dave Baines owns it. Yeah, there's 2 fields. Dave Baines owns it, and Anthony Pertola owns the other one. And there's a lot of fields around here, but those 2 fields are great, and they hold all the big things that actually go on. The North-South game's going to be at Anthony's, and the cancer benefit's going to be at Dave's, and they're both terrific fields.
Was the last North-South game at Rich Telford's field?
It's not Rich's. That's Anthony's field. Rich Telford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rich Telford, he played on Constant Pursuit that's where he started. So was on Constant Pursuit. So, Rich and I go back quite a ways too.
That is probably, he's probably the top of my list of people that I actually want to meet face to face is Rich Telford.
You're going to like,
I no doubt. I've talked to him a little bit on Facebook, like very little, but from all the articles that he wrote that I read, and I watched him from the magazines and stuff. I followed him when he was playing with the Ironmen, and I watched him when he was the captain and created Excessive or XSV. I'm not sure how they pronounce it. I always just refer to it as Excessive. I have to say that he is probably in my top 2, top 3 best team captains to have ever walked. Like the smartest, most intellectual. I just want to meet that guy. Like he's one of those guys that I really want to shake his hand because I idolize that guy. So
I taught him well. Yeah. He made me the general for the North-South game too. One of the generals. And then Robert Brandon's another one. I can't remember the third guy, but yeah, he made me the lead general for the North-South game.
Okay, my respect for him just went like this.
I love it.
All right, Fred. Thank you so much for saving the show and coming on tonight. I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
I'm looking forward to it. And I appreciate very much you having me on, and looking forward to doing some stuff with you in the future too here, buddy.
All right. So I'm going to give you the option to talk us out because I know you have a favorite tagline that you always like to end your show with. So I'll let you end my show with that if you'd like, my friend.
All right, everybody out there. Now, remember, watch Steve McGuire, the Unknown Podcast, but play hard, play safe, play fair. And from Steve and Fred, you guys stay safe out there. Good evening.
Play with passion, everybody. Good night.